it is Mark with Hawkeye Ordnance, and we are finishing up the 2019 Vortex Presents Shooter Source 3-Gun Championship down here in Crescent, Texas. Always an awesome match. You've got to check it out. You know, most guys that are coming to shoot a match like this, it's their vacation, and Jeremy Moore does an amazing job of making sure your vacation money is spent well. So I've been wanting to do this review for a while now. I've had this pistol for roughly a year and a half, but these are, you know, north of $4,000. This is the Atlas Gunworks Titan pistol. So this is one of the set models Atlas Gunworks does. There's nothing special about this one as it relates to all the others are identical, and this one just happens to be mine. So I took my time with this because, frankly, I'm not going to recommend a gun. You know, most of our clientele are getting started in the game. This is a pistol that you do not need until you're a little further down the road. This is a pistol I don't need. I'm just blessed to have it. So let's talk a little bit about this thing in fit and finish. So one thing I love about it, of course, is if you're doing table starts, this is killer. So here's the pistol, how she looks. It's a gorgeous gun, of course. These are all essentially get treated as full custom in the way that they're made. There are a few things about them that are, you know, done like in a production style, but that is to improve the speed. Because the one thing about Atlas that is remarkable, beyond the quality of the firearm, is that they get the guns out really quick. So no more than 60 to 90 days wait. And with a set model like this, you can plan on getting it within a few weeks if they're available. All right, so let's go through this just a little bit. Got tri-top slide. This one's done in the DVC coating and Bomar sights. So Adam does this kind of heavy cut here, as well as relieves as much of the weight as possible on the back of the gun. So when the gun reciprocates, you got the least amount of weight possible, you know, getting on the other side of your knuckle. That keeps the gun, you know, from doing a heavy muzzle lift. But one thing I'm really getting is that, like, I can see a lot of videos where the gun shoots super flat, and that's very important, but not as important as the gun going up and returning to zero every time. So the timing on these is designed so that when you shoot the pistol, it's going to rise a little. There's nothing you can do about that, but it comes back, and if you've got a you know, an 80% grip, like you're like me, standard grip, the gun's always going to just always return to zero. I get away with murder with this pistol when I'm shooting 2 shots. It's unbelievable. So moving down, we've got the Phoenix Trinity grip, which I really love. It's very aggressive. I'll show that off on the camera here. It's a very aggressive grip. It's not probably going to be for everybody, but I adjusted to it well. I have small hands, and you know, I hear a lot of people talking about 2011s being too big for a small-handed guy. It's just not a problem for me. I get most of my grip pressure from, you know, pushing, squeezing the gun like this, not from like my right hand jamming on it or my left hand. So he does have the Ambi Safety on here. It's filed down on one side, so it's a little shorter. It's incredibly positive. I've tried to get this thing to knock off. I can't do it. I did it the 3rd time. So if I aggressively dig it into the board, I had to do actual damage to the wood. I can get that thing to come off. So then we've got the Gephardt Trigger in here. This is a medium flat face. I've got a, can't see if you can see that. I've got a very curved finger. There's the camera. See if I get it. And it causes me some problems. I tend to drag along the bottom of the trigger well. The medium flat has got just enough of a lip on it. You can see it. Make sure that focuses. You can see that it's got a little drag space there, so it keeps my finger off the trigger guard. This one breaks at just under 2 pounds. He can do them lighter. I think 2 pounds kind of works for me. And then the big, you know, super toilet bowl Magwell, and I love that he did this. I mean, you know, one thing about these guns is they're designed by somebody who shoots USPSA primarily, so it's really designed for that. But we do a lot of table starts and stuff in USPSA as well, and this gives you this really firm platform to set the gun down. You know, it's not going anywhere. You can pick it up off the gun and off the table and get going. So the gun's a joy to shoot. It is a very heavy pistol. One thing I would look at, considering he's got some new models for 3-gun that are much, much lighter. This is a, you know, I'm not in the market to have like a whole bunch of 2011s around. I can't afford that like most people. But something to consider for 3-gun is we don't shoot a lot of pistol, so having a little bit lighter ride might be smart. Doesn't bother me at all. I've got no issues cruising around with it. It's a little, you know, I'm one of those guys that takes his holster off every time he's done shooting. I take all my stuff off my belt, so I just basically gun up when I'm in the hole, kind of get used to the weight of everything, and then shoot. And then as soon as I'm done, and part of my breakdown process is to take everything off, so I don't really notice the weight. But I could definitely, if you're with someone who carries their gun all day long, I think you might want to look, especially in 3-gun, doing a lot of running in the woods and stuff. You might want to consider the lighter pistol, but this one is remarkable for shooting. All right, so the big question is it worth spending, $4 grand on a pistol? So I think you got to break this down a little bit. It really comes down to, do you already have everything else you need and it's time to upgrade? I'm not positive that going straight to a gun like this makes sense if you've never really shot any action shooting games. Love the Glock. That's a great choice. In the middle, you've got STI. And they make a fine firearm. There's nothing wrong with their guns at all. They are a production pistol, so the fit and finish just isn't what you would expect from a custom gun like this. And then the last little piece is there's just something about the ride on these that you can't really describe. I think part of it is the metal grip certainly helps, the Phoenix grip, but there's something about everything's fit so well. You have less abrasion across the entire spectrum of the cycle. And there's something about that care, that attention to detail that adds up in little incremental ways to this just really soft shooting, very quick returning pistol. And what that really means is when you're shooting out on the range and you're running and gunning, your brain's in alligator mode and all that, is the gun just kind of does everything it's supposed to do. As long as I pretty much get the gun on target, and if I need to put 2 on it, it's going to pretty much do that for me for all practical purposes. If I jerk it, if I screw around with it, yeah, I'm going to miss. But if I get the thing on target and I see my sights and I pull the shot, I'll fly in some footage of some stuff we did here at Vortex Presents. That there's all these little steals in the woods. And at this match, I'm shooting media, so I didn't shoot the match for score. So there's all these little round targets, like 25 to out to like 75, 80 yards, all in these little bushes all throughout the tree line. And you're just running and gunning and shooting. And I didn't get a real chance to do much of a stage plan, so I was just running along, looking in each direction, swinging my muzzle back and forth in a safe way. And every time I saw a piece of steel, I'd just pull the trigger. And time after time after time, it was a hit, 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 hit. And it's not that like I don't have some skill, but the truth is that the gun is so wieldy, it's such an easy firearm to handle that it just kind of, as soon as you see the sights, you pull the trigger, it hits the target, and that's really nice. I'm not trying to make the case that you buy a $4,000 pistol and it's going to make you a better pistol shooter. That's not the case. Having said that, the light trigger, heavy gun, and a low impulse bullet load, what you'll find is that you'll you have less hardware between you and what you want to do. All right, now lastly, I want to talk about magazines. The biggest thing that malfunctions in these guns is not the gun, it's either the ammo or the magazine. So this is my loadout for kind of a weekend match kind of a thing. And what these are is I've got a couple of magazines in here. These are tuned by Atlas. I'll show you what these look like. So what you have here is a SDI Gen 2 tube with a Graham's follower, Graham's spring, Terran tactical base pad. He also puts the witness dots on here in a way that you can see whether you got the 23 and 24 rounds in there. These will do 24 rounds a piece. They're a couple $100. I don't recommend running out and getting a whole ton of these, especially when you first get started. I have 3, which is enough to do my Wednesday nights, not having to reload when I'm administering the match. And then I've got a pair of just the standard STI Gen 2s, actually these are Gen 1s, that I keep as my backup. So what I do almost every stage is load this to capacity, Barney 1 round off this magazine, and then load this one full. That gives me 25 rounds in the gun with 20 rounds standard STI magazine behind it. 99% of the time, that is enough pistol for any 3-gun stage. I'm not carrying a whole bunch of magazines with me. These STI Gen 1 and specifically the Gen 2 mags work really reliably until you or I start dicking around with them. So there's nothing wrong with having these. Again, as a second pistol mag, these work great, and for $60, the two of them together work really, really well together. And then you just keep adding them as you can afford to, so that you're getting, you know, you got kind of like each stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, whatever it is, all lined up, and you're not wasting time, right? While you're getting there, you just keep reloading your magazines. But these Atlas mags have hit the deck. I've had these since the winter, and this was the first real major match I shot with these magazines. My pistol was 100% reliable, shooting 220 some rounds of pistol from point blank to almost 100 yards, and in just about every condition possible. We didn't have any rain here, but we had a lot of slop, a lot of up and down hill, some sandy stuff. I mean, all over the place. A lot of bad angles, a lot of bad grips as I'm coming around corners and dealing with things on the terrain. And the gun was 100% reliable, so I mean, obviously that's a big deal. I was using American Eagle 147 grain ammunition all weekend, and that worked fantastic. I shot this with ORM Tech, with the Syntech ammo. The Federal Syntech I actually really like. The one issue I had with the Syntech is that for whatever reason the point of impact is just a little lower than the rest of my ammunition, so it goes from right above the sight where I like it to more like direct impact. Not a problem, just got to adjust a little bit. This match didn't have a lot of small targets. It was mostly a little bigger steels but further away, and I had, you know, zero issue with that. The other thing Adam does with the sight picture on this gun, let's see if you can see that, is there's plenty of space, daylight between here, so when you bring the gun up at any range whatsoever, you can still see the target through the sight. So even if I'm using an ammo that tends to ride a little lower, not quite as flat, it will, I can still see my sight or my targets around it pretty well. So if you get into a funny position, it's nice. I really like that look and feel. The presentation of the sights is particularly good on this pistol compared to the other things I've shot. So that's the Atlas Titan. Now here's the deal with this. If you have questions about this pistol and you want to talk about it or what the right pistol is, go ahead and put a comment in the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page, wherever you're watching this, and I'll get back to you. We'll probably PM and do it offline. This is not the right choice for every single shooter. There's no question in my mind about that. But if you're interested in, you're looking at SDIs or a full custom gun, that's where you want to have a conversation about the Titan. If you get a chance, love to see you next year at the Vortex Presents Shooter Source 3-Gun Championship 2020 here down in Crescent, Texas. Sub the channel, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you on the next one.